Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. There is only 2 months till the halving. Man, time flies. Remember celebrating the last one on a Zoom with Tony Vase and Woonomic and tons of other BTC fanatics. This coming from Mike Novogratz here. Mining about to get a whole lot harder, and guys, this is going to be the key for a Bitcoin price explosion, which will in fact bring altcoins up higher. But ETF demand and less supply is going to drive the price. Always remember, prices are set on the margin and supply does matter. So what Mike Novogratz is pointing out here, guys, is that, although we are now seeing Bitcoin hitting new highs, right now we are about to see it get even higher. So right now, Bitcoin's trading at about 52,400 per coin. And the last few days has been very, very exciting for Bitcoin price movement. We haven't really seen too much bearish activity. We did see a bit of a correction down here on Tuesday, but guys, we're continuing to print higher highs for Bitcoin. And as Mike Novogratz points out, we have not even seen the halving yet. Now, Justin Bennett giving a bit of a doomsday scenario, although he's not saying it's a doomsday scenario. This is not a doomsday post, he says. This is not a sell everything in panic post. This is a simple reminder of how Bitcoin carves significant tops. So make note of this, okay? 47,000 to 49,000 is the line in the sand. Invalidation on a sustained break above 53.5. Your move, Bitcoin. So what he's looking at here, the 53,500 mark, and what he's noticing here from back in March to May of 2021, and also October to November of 2021. He's taken the fractal pattern here, placed it on the chart. What we have noticed is a retrace, a significant retrace to the downside. Now, at this point, I'm not entirely sure that we're going to see that. We still might see a bit of a retrace before the halving, but, we're getting now very, very close to the halving. But I guess, technically there's still time. And realistically here, let me just bring up another Bitcoin chart here where I have the halvings plotted already here on the chart. In previous halvings, like back in 2020, we did actually see Bitcoin rally up, then come down, and then just kind of trade sideways for a little bit, a couple of months actually, before we really started to see the bulls take over. So we could in fact still see that decline in price. 53,500 is the number now to be looking at. So wanted to thank Justin there for posting that. Of course, guys, sentiment keeps growing. Greed keeps mounting. 75 now for greed, and market cap is creeping closer to $2 trillion. We got Bitcoin market dominance at 52.5%. So Bitcoin is still the leader. Altcoins are, still kind of straggling behind. But some are now suggesting that altcoins might not actually be the best performers in this bull run, and that you should, in fact, be getting into Bitcoin and by extension to Ethereum, that those two will be the best performers. And guys, I'm going to be telling you why. It's not to say that other altcoins won't perform, just maybe not as well as perhaps some of the bigger players here. So I wanted to kind of talk about this and, with regards to this market, of course it is changing right before our eyes. Fred Krueger here posting this. British Hodl made a great point in our spaces today. The 2020 to 2021 bull market was driven by people who didn't have very much money and wanted to 10x with massive leverage on Binance, FTX, etc. They will pick the highest volume coins and go with perps. Things go a bit wrong, they get wrecked. But guys, this bull market is very, very different. And this is going to be driven by rich people who want to just stay rich and who are allocating only 1% to 2% of their capital into crypto. They are cash buyers and don't check price every day. They are going in BTC because that's the ETF. But generally speaking, they like the idea of investing in the leader. So it's a very, very different mindset here coming in. And, this is not the first time I've heard this type of comment here. So Bitcoin could, in fact, overperform this bull run. And so, in terms of altcoins yielding more return, well, now that could be debatable because we now have big money coming in. Nobody's leveraging, nobody's getting wrecked, or at least less people will. According to this theory here, Chad Steingraber also bringing us some metrics. Okay, so these are actual buys. Okay, who is selling? Who is buying? Retail is selling while market drivers are taking it all away. Why is retail selling Bitcoin? Because they're looking at TA charts by people who are ignoring the institutional ETFs and are about to get slapped in the face by BlackRock. So just take a look at retail and how much is selling, how much retail is selling compared to the rich, the institutional, and how they are buying up Bitcoin. So just some other metrics to be paying attention to. Another one here from Chad Steingraber. So all great information just to kind of point us in the direction that we should be really, really focusing on this bull run. And there it is. BlackRock has its single biggest Bitcoin accumulation on the 23rd day, February the 14th. So that was just yesterday. If you guys are watching this video on the day that I'm dropping it, BlackRock here did accumulate a whole bunch more Bitcoin here, totaling, where's the total? He says 10,003. I will leave all this information in the description of the video, as I do all the time, if you guys want to refer to it later. So some interesting observations here. You know, this altcoin market, it's still going to be a big part of this bull run, but, you know, we can expect perhaps Bitcoin yielding some more gains. Let's just bring up XRP here, guys, because XRP has been moving slowly but surely. Let me throw it on the hourly for you guys. We can see overnight hour XRP trading has gotten it up to, well, right now it's trading at 55 cents, so it has increased a little bit too. I also wanted to draw your attention to this news here, guys. Stuart Alderati, commenting on Gary Gensler on Tuesday, he says Gensler told an audience of Yale law students that the SEC is following the law, but his challenge is with courts that shift their interpretations of the law. Then Stuart Alderati saying, was Tuesday opposite day? I think we're doing everything according to the law and how the courts interpret the law, says Gensler. And as the courts shift their interpretations, jobs like mine are both more challenging and more interesting. It's kind of thinking about, where are the courts in 2024? Where might they be in 2025 and 26, interpreting these matters of administrative authority? I couldn't believe it. And I mean, Gary Gensler was making the rounds the other day. He did get challenged on CNBC. Joe Kernan interrupted the chairman several times, calling him out. During an 8-minute interview, Joe Kernan interrupted the chairman several times, calling him out on his perspective on Bitcoin, part of the discussion surrounding comparisons between Bitcoin and traditional fiat currencies, which Gensler said boast a real economic difference in terms of their utilization as a medium of exchange. While discussing Bitcoin's lack of ties to any national or central bank, Kernan claimed that this is the part of its appeal, since it makes the currency decentralized and immune to prolificate spending by the central banks. Listen to this.
You've seen the comments, right? It's not just that he closed down, that he would say it's, you know, used by drug dealers and used by folks who are doing all sorts of illicit and terrible things. There's very few things that trade today that people talk about like that. Now, there are obviously frauds and things that happen, but maybe not like this.
Like the dollar is like 100 times more.
Well, I know that's your perspective, but I'm just I'm curious how you think about that.
But that's true, though. This is how much has been money laundered with Bitcoin. This is how much. This is Bitcoin. This is dollar.
Yes, Joe. But look, here's the Jamie Dimon quote. The only true use case for it is for criminals, drug traffickers, money laundering, and tax avoidance. I know, but we have a guest.
That's his opinion.
We have a guest, Joe. What is your opinion? And what is your opinion that we have something trading on the exchange for the public that has this type of use case, at least as described by the president of one of the largest financial institutions in the country?
It's the leading market share in ransomware, and that's publicly known.
Right.
You know, it's the token of choice for ransomware. Joe, if I can say, the U.S. dollar, the euro, the yen, you have the whole society using it as a medium of exchange. We buy our cups of coffee, as I see here. Right. We get paid in dollars or yen or euro. And you have a whole central bank and support for one currency generally per economic region. That we don't have here. So there is a very real economic difference.
Which is part of the attraction, since it's decentralized, and you can't have a profligate central bank.
It's not that decentralized, Joe.
Well, I know you're saying because of the ETFs, but really
no,
it is.
No, it's not that decentralized
and everything.
Because look how finance tends towards centralization since antiquity.
Right.
So what do we have? We have a handful of 3 to 6 core so-called crypto
I understand,
exchanges.
but the asset itself, the way that the distributed ledger, right? That's how the ledger. And
now, how many times do you have people on this show that say, "I want to invest in something because how the books and records are kept"? I mean, Joe, really? It's just an accounting ledger. It's a ledger that everyone has, and can't be double counted. It's almost immutable. That's why people think it has inherent value. So you trust it more than an Oracle database, or you trust it more? I trust it more than a lot of
the Bitcoin bulls say they trust it a lot more than the central bank that enables the fiscal authorities to spend money to the tune of $33 trillion.
That's everybody's investment choice, but
and then I think about how many things can be used in a deleterious way. Of course, but that has nothing to do with the underlying thing that you're using itself. I mean, I can go run a car into a parade and run over 40 people. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have cars. Does it?
No. You should have corpus.
I wasn't going to
Joe.
use guns because, God, I don't want to trigger, so to speak, anyone on the set. But
when the use case of a particular thing that you're buying and selling as an investment is just speculative investment.
how many of the 90% of the people that own Bitcoin are using it for ransomware? There must be another use case that makes it so attractive to so many people.
Speculative investing.
Right. Speculative investing. That's what. Okay. Let me ask a separate question, which is just to pivot this, because I think the next sort of order event question is what happens to Ethereum. For those in the crypto world, they all want to know how you're thinking about that. And really, if Ethereum is a security, how does that analysis differ from how you would think about Bitcoin?
What we did in January was cabin to one set of filings. We have other filings. You're absolutely right in front of us, but I'm not going to prejudge it for you or the audience. That's something that a 5-member commission discusses.
Right.
So things were heating up at CNBC. Eleanor Turret saying if Joe Squawk's not careful, he'll end up being crypto Twitter's new hero. I mean, some of his rationale was kind of ridiculous. I'm really kind of happy Joe Kernan did, come in and challenge this, because the corruption is palpable. And, some people were even saying on Twitter that they had seen Gary Gensler's, 24 hours of online MIT lectures about cryptocurrency. And, they look at him today and they think to themselves, this is just not the same guy. The corruption is palpable. I think this is why John Deaton, too, is now challenging Elizabeth Warren, this one from Santiago Velez, bringing up this article. And, many of these political news outlets are posting about this. Crypto attorney weighs challenging Warren. John Deaton is a former U.S. Marine who started his own firm representing asbestos victims. And now it's looking as though he is going to be challenging Senator Elizabeth Warren, the leading digital assets critic in Congress, according to 2 Massachusetts Republicans familiar with the matter. John Deaton is taking a serious look at running as a Republican against the state's senior senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Jim Conroy, a political advisor to former Massachusetts Republican Governor Charlie Baker, who has been consulting with Deaton on a likely run, told Politico. So the Boston Globe reported it first. John Deaton has been getting traction. Crypto Eddie also noticing the Boston Globe, Politico, the Daily Beast, Newstrawl, and BNN all listing this. News about John Deaton. You guys can see the headlines here. This one from BNN. Crypto advocate John E. Deaton considers Senate run against Elizabeth Warren. The Politico one, which I just read you guys. And then there was this one too. Crypto-loving lawyer eyes run against Senator Elizabeth Warren. Of course, these political outlets will probably have their own spin on the matter, depending on who owns them. Nevertheless, guys, John Deaton is getting traction, and Digital Perspectives here commenting as well. I've always wanted to help unseat a senator. It's extra special to me that ends up being Elizabeth Warren. She's out of touch and serving bankers over her own constituents. Let's help bring John Deaton and his real leadership to Massachusetts. Now, somebody was tipped off because now John Deaton's Twitter profile says that he lives in Swansea, Massachusetts. I think that changed. I think he did live in New York prior. So looks like a run is likely on the table. Wanted to thank Digital Perspectives, Eleanor Turret, Crypto Eddie, and of course Santiago Velez just for posting that. So I mean, obviously we still need work in the United States when it comes to crypto regs. But this bull run is happening whether we like it or not. Good Morning Crypto posting this. Anthony Pompano now dropping a bombshell on altcoin ETFs. So, we're getting this sense that Bitcoin could be the driving force and will be the driving force, guys. We're going to get a lot of new money into the space with Bitcoin. But will altcoins have their place, and how soon before we see altcoin ETFs? Here's Anthony Pompano, historically a big Bitcoin bull. Never really wanted to address altcoins in a bullish manner, but has he changed his tune? Listen to this.
It usually happens. It does, right? Now, you say you've got the next big bet. Share that with us.
Yeah, so if you look at what happened with the Bitcoin ETF, right? Bitcoin is an asset. It's now been accepted within Wall Street, and now people want to get access. I think that the next big run of equities is going to end up being in altcoin ETFs. And what I mean by that is forget which coin or which protocol, but the altcoin ETF issuers, I think, are going to have a great run over the next 2 years. I've made 3 bets here. I invested in Bitwise. I invested in a company called 21 Shares. And then the only publicly traded company is something called DeFi Technologies. And all 3 of these, they basically want to give people exposure to assets. They don't care which one you pick. They just want to make sure that it's easier for you to put money into this ecosystem, in this industry. And I think all 3 will do well.
So an altcoin ETF, guys, this could, in fact, bring the altcoins up. But I think we got to see that Ethereum and Bitcoin run first. Now, Here is a theory from Texas Hedge here, writing this quickly, so forgive the typos, but I think a lot of people on this site are completely lost in the sauce, fretting about selling local tops, praying for better entries, and overall acting like prisoners of the moment without stepping back and appreciating the magnitude of what is happening in the space. So his view, and it's similar to Fred Krueger's view, okay? The Bitcoin ETF is enormously bullish. The Ethereum ETF will be enormously bullish. So ultimately, guys, for spec, this is Bitcoin and Ethereum are really going to get the market rocking and rolling. But he's saying here, in your historical models for A, the structure and magnitude of a typical crypto bull cycle, and B, relative performance of BTC and Ethereum versus alts were built under completely different conditions from what we have today. So BTC and Ethereum, well, BTC particularly being one of the worst performers in the space, that could in fact flip based on this theory here. And before anyone tells me I'm not here for 5X to explain why they're long Batman, Robin, Obama Bitcoin instead of BTC or ETH as a higher beta crypto play, I think the returns from Bitcoin and Ethereum will eclipse those of most altcoins. I believe this with very high confidence on a risk-reward basis and with moderately high confidence on an absolute return basis. The 2021 blueprint for BTC peak to trough performance relative to alts is a poor guide for a few reasons. Bitcoin has entirely a new buyer base. Okay, so similar to what Fred Krueger said via the ETFs, who demonstratively want to buy the asset more today than they did pre-ETF. And no matter how bullish you are, you're insufficiently bullish on the impact of a spot ETF on a commodity market. Listen to Kobe, Ledger Status's interview with Saylor. There is enormous value to scalable digital property that's as solid as the rock under Manhattan. Number two, I don't think that it's that controversial to say that much of alt outperformance in the 2021 cycle was built on violently reflexive Ponzi-nomic mechanisms designed like Luna and outright fraud like FTX and Alameda. So what he's saying is in the last bull run, there was a lot of fraud, a lot of sketchiness, and a lot of the reasons why a lot of these altcoins went up was because of players like Luna and FTX, Alameda, likely to benefit the Solana ecosystem. Although he's proud of Manlet, yes, I believe Solana has outgrown SBF and will leave behind its unfortunate poster child of yesteryear, but it is important to be objective about the irreplicable liquidity dynamics and buoyant alts in 2021. So because we have real money in the space, what he is suggesting is that the Bitcoin and Ethereum prices will do very well, and altcoins might not see as much traction this bull run. So number three, though, the market is so intent on finding the Solana of this cycle, i.e. the next 100x, as we all are. This is why I have the Patreon, guys. And I'm still diversifying, by the way, so I don't ever think it's a bad idea to diversify. Nevertheless, he's saying, that is ready to fully value any potential candidate for the title immediately. Celestia sounds like a lovely blockchain with wonderful token holders. I wish them the best. But today, 2 months before the Bitcoin halving, it's already trading with a $20 billion FDV. Solana's market cap peaked at $75 billion in November of 2021. I see this psychology in tons of once-in-a-lifetime crypto dabblers. They don't want to own BTC. They want to own the higher beta new thing, so much so that the higher beta new thing is overpriced relative to the OG. I don't think people on this site appreciate how under-owned BTC is, even by crypto retail investors. This is the path to institutional adoption. You only get one shot at trades like this, and you can sit on the sidelines waiting for either a pullback and then not buy it, or higher prices to confirm for you that the prices are indeed going even higher from there. Or you can zoom out and think about where we will be in 5 years from now, not how many percent we are up or down versus yesterday, last week, or last month. So, guys, this is a bigger play. I will leave the rest of this in the description of the video. He talks a little down here about NFTs. So will we see the altcoins perhaps not perform as well as Bitcoin because of this institutional money? Or conversely, maybe as Bitcoin does perform better for longer, we could see a prolonged altcoin rally, perhaps bringing altcoins even higher than initially anticipated. Remember, altcoins do react on Bitcoin's price move. And so if Bitcoin is likely to go even higher because of this institutional money, well, that would just prolong the market. Altcoins would follow because we are still in a relatively new space. I think the good news and a good takeaway here is that this is different, guys. Rich people want to stay rich, and now they are entering the market. No longer are we going to see that 10x yield, on cryptocurrency exchanges like Binance and FTX. While Binance has been regulated into oblivion and FTX no longer exists. Of course, there are other crypto exchanges out there, but I mean the big money. Is that what we're going to see? Bitcoin, Ethereum, because of the ETFs? Will altcoins outperform? I still think they have a chance. I really do think this is still a very, very new market, and if anything, a prolonged bull run could bring altcoins even higher over a longer period. Of course, time will tell. We are not even close to Bitcoin reaching its all-time high yet. That's just my opinion, though. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's go, guys. Almost there. I want to hit 100,000 by March the 31st. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I'm giving away 2 Ledger Nanos to 2 lucky subscribers, free Ledger Nanos. You can self-custody your crypto with the Ledger Nano. Keep it safe in cold storage, but you got to be subscribed to win. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.